In about 10 seconds, you'll be live.
Okay, I think we're on. So I'm calling this November 14th, 2022 regular meeting of the Mancos RE6 School Board to order. The time is 7:01. Roll call, please.
Pam Coppinger,
Here.
Victor Figueroa,
Here.
Katie Cahill Wolfe,
Here.
Emily Hutchison Brown,
Here.
Tim Hunter.
He's excused. All right, would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chico, thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah.
And thank you for all of you who are joining us on the computer, on Zoom or Facebook Live, or whichever method you have. Thank you for your interest in our school. Approval of agenda.
Before we go forward, I think this is where I would make a motion to add the DAC report to the agenda.
Okay, so somebody want to make a motion to accept the agenda with the addition of the DAC report, which is our accountability, it's a district accountability committee report, and our president is here in attendance.
I make a motion to accept the agenda with the addition of the District Accountability Committee presentation be added.
I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the addition of the DAC or the District Accountability Committee report added as number 6. Discussion? Okay, call the question, please, Heather.
Katie Cahill Wolfe,
Aye.
Pam Coppinger,
Aye.
Victor Figueroa,
Aye.
Emily Hutchison Brown,
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. Approval of minutes.
I make a motion to approve the October 17th minutes.
I second it.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the October 17th, 2022 regular meeting. Any discussion? Okay, Heather, call the question, please.
Katie Cahill Wolfe,
Aye.
Pam Coppinger,
Aye.
Victor Figueroa,
Aye.
Emily Hutchison Brown.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And public participation, I don't think we have, because we'll have Tigo at his time, which is now. The next item is our DAC, our District Accountability Committee report.
Welcome tonight. Good evening. We had a good meeting last month.
Yeah, go ahead and come on up.
Come on up here, T.
We had a good meeting last month. We had 11 members show up and participate in the conversation. We had guest speakers, Audion Farrar and Chrissy Miller. We approved our minutes, which are now on the website. I had some communication with Chrissy and Jessica about getting the PowerPoint that Chrissy showed to us on the website today, so that will be coming soon. Audion talked about her role as the in the admin team's professional development and what that is and what they're doing there, and how part of her role is being the PBL instructional coach for the teachers, and her role as writing the strategic reports for the board. So it was just good to know what's going on with Audion and to know the admin team's professional development and instructional coaching that's going on, and the school's desire to make us even better. So we had guest speaker Chrissy Miller talk about the budget. She explained funding sources, budget planning process timeline, budget challenges, managing the budget, the audit, how funding comes from 2 main sources locally through property tax and from the state, and that mainly in Mancos, our funding comes from the state. There is a large focus on the budget for raising teachers' compensation And she talked about the purpose of the reserve fund and how we're trying to grow that. And how a big thanks to Todd and his busy work on his end of the grants we've done for the school. Yeah.
Questions for Tico? No. I just thank you. This committee is vitally important to our school, so it's nice to see that it's active, and I really appreciate the report.
Thank you.
Thank you. What are you going to be talking about next?
I'd have to get back to you.
Okay.
That's not.
We're gonna be talking about the strategic plan and the
Okay.
Mancos Explorer Pathways program.
Cool. All right.
We'll be doing that on the 29th.
And then,
And, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna ask, so I understand that, it's been a long time since I was on accountability, but it is, that the school is, and the board are soliciting feedback. So we have a set agenda, is my understanding, and, I think that would be an important piece of the puzzle, making sure, we would be really grateful, Tigo, if you could, come back with what your committee feels and recommends as we move forward with each one of these items. I think that would be really, I think the purpose of this is to make sure that we are aware of what the school community, the community at large, and the membership. If we're doing great, that's
Yeah.
great, but also we need, constructive criticism as well.
Totally.
The accountability committee can make recommendations to the board. It's up to the board to say yes or no, but
Yes,
still, sometimes community members see things that we don't.
Yeah.
So that's always nice to have that information, and it may help us make some better decisions.
I would say that the people we have involved in district accountability right now really have the ear for just wanting to know what's going on and to get answers when they have questions. And I feel like right now that is what we're getting. And there's been room and requests for, if there's recommendations, please let us know. And as of right now, y'all are doing a good enough job that there hasn't been any, so. And so we appreciate that. I think that's something I think was said at the last meeting is we just appreciate what this board is doing and the growth. I mean, just coming to the work sessions and hearing the vision for the future, like beyond what y'all are gonna be here, when y'all are gonna be here. It's just already good to hear from a community standpoint. And so we've seen a lot of growth in the board and we're excited to see where y'all continue to go.
Tico, I guess the biggest thing is know that if there are some recommendations, feel free to bring it forward since you're going to present every month now. So we want to hear any feedback that people might have as it relates to accountability, whether it's student achievement or finance or whatever.
There is something that changed on our agenda for the year is that we are gonna end up putting the budget back on our schedule, on our agenda come May.
When we're in budget season.
And just to reiterate what's going on then, and so maybe have a little more understanding on that aspect when that comes, so. That was a recommendation and we'll continue with that one, so.
Yeah, that's good. That's community's voice to the board.
Yeah.
All right, Emily, do you have anything?
Nope, sounds good.
All right, thank you, Tigo.
Thank you.
You can stay there. You don't have to
Oh.
leave. All right, board reports. For the LRC, I'm sure you probably know this already, but we don't do much because the legislature isn't in session. They are getting it together now that the election is over, but they really won't start. They're heavy duty, the bills introduced and stuff until January. So it'll be hot and heavy from January to May is really their huge season. So there's nothing right now other than I've been contacted to stay on the LRC for one more year.
Great. No, that's great. Thank you for doing that. That's really great representation for our voice. So I'm really grateful.
Thanks. All right. Mr. Figueroa? Kathy?
Oh, Okay, this is the Colorado Board, Colorado
Association of School Boards.
Association of School Boards. Okay, Colorado Association for School Boards update. There's 3 areas I want to talk about. I went to the 2022 Fall Conference and Delegation Assembly. It was my first time there. It was a new experience for me, but a really good experience. The conference itself had breakout sessions that were really good. I'm going to talk about one of them in my second item. But my first item was really about the delegate assembly, which is representation from each board across the state. So there was a board member from each board across the state, and they are representing different items that fit under student academic growth and achievement, finance, and local governance. And so our job there was to vote on various various items, various resolutions, that would then be approved, voted on, and then given to our congressmen and our senators at the state level, our legislators. And there we have a lobbyist from CASB that would really advocate for these different positions that we want to see happen. And an example of a resolution I just wrote here, one of the resolutions that was approved was the Colorado Association of School Board urges the Colorado General Assembly to eliminate the factors used to calculate the budget stabilization factor and prioritize paying off the remaining balance of the 2024. Really, in plain English, the state government owes us, owes the host, all the districts $370 million because of the 2008 fiscal crisis that we got in, and they didn't pay the districts what they were supposed to get for each student.
Well,
And
it's
so,
actually more than that when it's cumulative, when you add it up all those years,
Mhm.
it's actually even more.
even more than that.
It's stunning. Oh, stunning.
So we're asking the legislation to pay us and get us to even ground in 2024 in the budget. And they just have to do that. And then, that would help us tremendously. Todd, I don't know what our amount would be, but I think we had it at one time. Do you recall it at all, what we would get from the state if they were to pay us
Yeah.
outright?
Some, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it's been a few months and I've seen it, but it was in the neighborhood, I believe, of about 6 million.
Wow.
That would make a big difference.
Capital
So-
reserves right
over-
there.
Yeah, so over the span of the development of the negative factor, which became the budget stabilization factor, accrued over those 15 to 20 years, it accrued to about $6 million
It was just amazing.
Yeah, so
for Mancos School District alone.
alone, right, exactly, thank you.
So bigger schools get more.
Yeah, so that's an example of resolutions that were approved. I think that all the board members here and across the state got the new board resolutions that were approved that are going to be moved on now to our legislators. So that's the kind of work that happened. And so we were voting on each of these resolutions. Some we approved, some we didn't. But I thought it was really good work, and it was really democracy at work in our country. So it was a nice process to participate in. So that was great. So the second part of that has to do with, I went to a breakout session and I talked in our work session about this. So I'll give some information so that the public and teachers and people that are listening or that are tuned in can hear this as well. The breakout session was really about uploading new board members into our board. And really, this is something that's we're very conscious of, because there's at least 2 seats that are going to be stepping down because of time of, I think, time limits, completion. And so we're going to be looking for 2 new board members. And so it was really about how do we orientate new board members so that they're much more prepared to come right on to the board and participate. And the other part of it really is how do we recruit board members that can help move our district forward and our board forward as we continue to do the work that we're trying to do here, and that's govern. I got some really good information. I think that that's going to be one of the major things we're going to try to accomplish by the end of the year, and we hope to be able to have more information for possible new board members that are interested in joining the board next year. And then finally, the Colorado Association of School Board members, we have the 82nd annual convention on December 1st and 3rd. It's an opportunity for our board to receive professional development in areas like legal matters, school policy, family, school, community partnerships, student perspective on gifted and talented engagement, are just a few areas that we get some professional development on. It's also a time for the school board and the superintendent to have kind of a winter retreat and reflect on where we are and where we're going. So it's an opportunity again, when we go to these conferences, to get really good insight and new development on how to govern and areas that we wouldn't normally hear outside of our district. So that's the other thing that's going to be coming up on December 1st to the 3rd.
And we're all registered to go, right?
Yeah.
We have plans to have a finer agenda for that trip.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that under our discussion.
Okay.
items. Okay. Yeah, as far as the resolutions go, looking through here, I had that, because I was on that a delegate for like 6 years. Anyway, I was really pleased, and that there were more delegates this year than ever before. So that, and then Victor, you said it was a lot
Yeah.
of rural guys showed up this year.
There were, at least that's what folks were telling me. It's new for me, but I know for our district area, which is this whole area, including Durango, Pagosa, all the way up to Silverton, I think we were missing one district. So that was nice.
And if you look at, if you guys look over these reports, it was really interesting too. In the past, well, they have the standing resolutions, which those are basically ones they have almost every year, they're standing. But then the others are in categories. But I was real interested in when I was looking at the tally of votes, because there were more, it was more split this time. Before, it's always been, if there's 68 delegates, there's 65 for and 3 against. It's always been really lopsided. This time, they had to have had some good discussions, because I know that you can go up and speak to a resolution once it's on the floor, and they had to have had some good discussions about those. So the process seems like it was better this year.
It was lively at times, I can tell you that. And it was, that, again, I look at the process and I think that's democracy. People have different opinions about resolutions and whether it's going to be good for our district or not good for our district, good for our state or not good for our state. And it's helpful to hear those comments that different folks, I really appreciated it, because I could read information, but that doesn't mean I truly understand why somebody brought that forward. And usually the one that wrote it gets up there and speaks for 3 minutes. And then other people say, but that doesn't really apply to rural districts. That only applies to, and so everybody gets a better sense of whether they really want to vote for that or not.
I would encourage every board member to go one time. I mean, you can't vote. Victor's the only one that can vote right now for our board, but the education you get from the process is amazing. And like you say, there are really good breakouts.
And I will invite you because at our winter retreat at the 82nd annual convention here, we are coming together to finalize some decisions. So all of the delegates are going to come together, and you are more than welcome to come join us again and look at the process and listen to the process as it happens. We have two items to vote on, and so you can see that process as well. People will say for or against, and they'll go up to the mic and say, I'm really supportive of this, or I'm not, and this is why.
Any other comments for Victor? All right, thanks, Victor. We appreciate you going up there too.
Thank you.
And Katie, you said that you were unable to attend the,
No, but I was not able to attend BOCES. I can forward you guys the agenda and then I will follow up with the minutes when we have them approved at the next month's meeting.
okay, sounds good. All right, superintendent's report.
So I wanted to highlight some of the notes that were part of the board packet. The first one is as it pertains to the Mancos Early Learning Center. They had a visit for the Regional Colorado Preschool Program Coordinator, and that was a very positive visit and evaluation. She was very impressed. The Early Learning Center also had a fall festival, and they had 11 parents show up as volunteers. And that organization, they're doing really well. They're having a good year so far this year. One of the things for us to consider going forward is we have Tira as a teacher as well as the director. So at some time in the future, we'll need to find a way to carve out some opportunities for her to do more director work, because right now she's doing a lot of teaching work, and then whenever she can, director work as well. So that'll be something for us to think about in the future.
Paid off.
Yeah.
Just do that.
And then for the elementary school, in Catherine's report, I wanted to just highlight a few things also. They did Girls on the Run in Durango, which is an annual event, and there was over 100 runners, and Mancos had 30 girls there. And one of our fifth grade girls actually came across the finish line first. So that's kind of good. That's a very good program, and I appreciate the teachers that do that, every day after school. They do it a lot. It's really pretty darn cool. One thing at the elementary school, one challenge we have is we're down a special ed teacher. So we have a position posted for that, but it's a tough time of the year to try to find a special ed teacher. It's a very specialized field, but we are looking for one. They're doing a good job right now with some strategic scheduling to meet the needs of students, because those are legal requirements to meet those needs in the IEPs, the individual education plans. And they're working very hard to see that happens. And we're keeping a close eye on it, because we also don't want to burn people out in the process.
Do you have a permanent sub in there for her?
We do have subs going in, but not a permanent one. No, we did have an exceptional one for a few weeks in there. Ms. Stiles was in there for about 3 weeks. I don't know how we coaxed her back, but she's a wonderful lady. And so that was a blessing to have her in there. For some upcoming events, the elementary and the secondary principal both attended the CASE inaugural principal conference last week. And it was a really good conference from what I heard from both of them. It was an opportunity for them to learn a lot. And then also we have the Thanksgiving Feast with Families coming up this Thursday at 10:55 to 1 p.m. And that's an opportunity for the board to serve that meal if they have time in their schedule for it. At the secondary level, Mr. Rittner shares that communication, he's been doing a lot of communicating with parents around discipline issues. And him and Mr. Gardner are working very diligently to establish excellent protocols for restorative justice in the secondary level. And they feel like they're making really solid improvements. I have a lot of trust in those two individuals' work around that area of restorative justice and discipline at that secondary level. And I've been impressed with their work. Also, Mr. Rittner points out that he's in the process, as is the elementary school, of collecting data and evaluating data to better understand where our students are at and measure their academic growth. And he's looking to find a place to build a data room in the secondary level. At the elementary level, they found a great room, which is their conference room.
It's just not a good room that's not used over here, is there?
Well, we're trying to find one. We're struggling to find a good room for that. And as a concern going forward, he uplifts two items for us to consider. One is to put together some all-district professional development around team building. And I think that'd be really appropriate for this time of the year. October and November are a bit of a stretch. And with the weather turning and stuff, I think the staff could really use a good team building event. And
Especially with 2 new
12 days
teachers over
away.
there.
yeah.
Stress gets pretty high before Christmas.
And one thing for us to consider for the future at the secondary level also is we've really had a remarkable change with the adoption of the Mancos Explore Pathways program. Where our secondary students this semester are on track to get over 800 college credits, which is just a huge amount. And are making 4 pathways legally compliant pathways, so the school district can get funding. We didn't have any pathways that were compliant last year to receive funding. This year we'll have 4. And so that'll bring in somewhere between 50,000 to 100,000 to next year's budget. In addition, we'll have at least 150 students, maybe 200 students that will be getting career certificates from the Colorado certificate program, which will bring in about $150,000 to the school district next year. All that is a tremendous amount of work and will require an FTE added to our planning for next year. So by providing all those great outcomes for students and revenue, we're going to need another FTE, but we'll still be positively impacting the budget with the net difference. So that's something that we'll be looking at for next year, and we'll be starting the process of building out job descriptions so that we do it in a very thoughtful way, and so that we know exactly what we're hiring for, so we get just the right person to meet our needs. On October 25th, we had every month we have a meeting with the admin and all the directors in the school district, and I just wanted to highlight a few of them. The director of transportation, Bart Small, pointed out, shared with the whole group that we were having some behavioral problems on one of the buses. And so that's going to be rectified by having the elementary counselor come out after school while they're here waiting. They're getting a little rambunctious before they left. So Nick will be out here to be with them till they depart. And then they're actually going to be picking up Kathy, who will ride on the bus for a portion of the route also, to make sure that they stay in order.
Oh my
Because-
goodness, good
So
for her.
good for her. That really is
Tell her.
above and beyond.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is something to watch also. I mean, she goes from crossing guard to being picked up by the bus and then being dropped off. It really is exceptional labor. It's
is.
exceptional work. So
Yeah,
it's interesting to watch too.
yeah.
So we have the panoramas, it's a lot of work. The panorama surveys, so students, Panorama is a company we use and have been using for a few years to survey our students and staff around how they're, considering our students' social emotional well-being. And so that's been going on last week and this week. So we'll be having data. We'll be doing on the December 2nd, all staff PD day, we'll be discussing that panorama data, and then it'll be reflected in our strategic objective reports for this year. And then at the nurses department, Sharon reported that the children are getting their hearing checked and their vision checked, as well as we had a flu clinic that also provided COVID shots. So we had 25 people get flu shots and 18 people get COVID booster shots. And then we also had a blood draw on campus. So those are those reports. One thing I wanted to just, I believe at the last meeting or the meeting before, the board charged me with getting the retain and recruit subcommittee up and running. So we're in the process of collecting data for that. We're interviewing former board members, former superintendent, teachers, and community members to kind of get a baseline of data. And then we, as part of that interview process, we're also seeing if there would be interested in a follow-up committee that's likely to start in January if this continues forward after the report. We'll have a report to the board, most likely to be at the January meeting. And at that point, we'll decide whether there's additional work for the school district to do, whether there's additional work for the school district to do internally, or whether there's additional work for the school district to do with the community. Those are likely the three outcomes. So kind of status quo, just internal work or external work are the likely three outcomes. The data we're getting and the report we're building from the interviews as well as external information is really pretty exceptional so far. I think you're going to find that to be a really helpful report. Something related to that report is board member Mr. Hunter has also utilizing his expertise as a builder to evaluate what it would mean for the school district to have some housing for our staff, because housing in Mancos is a problem. For our existing staff that have housing, they're experiencing the rise in property values is a very positive thing for them. The challenge is for new staff coming in, they're not able to afford housing in Mancos. So we're exploring some options there, and he's doing some work. And we're also working with the town on affordable housing and affordable housing money that's available throughout the state. So there'll be more on that, and that will be linked to the retention and recruitment report as well.
If I can make a comment there, and I made this to Tim, I saw him yesterday as well. Mr. Hunter mentioned this to me, and I think it's an important conversation for us all to have. It's a difficult conversation, but I think it's important. I will say Ignacio School District, my understanding is for many years, I think several decades, they've owned and managed teacher housing. And I'm not quite sure how, what the genesis of that was or whatever, but I think they would be a good resource for us to look at if this does come to us, for them to help us understand what pitfalls might be, concerns, management concerns, budget concerns, things of this nature. I think since they've had a long experience with it.
Telluride also for several years has employee housing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And when I was in Rangeley, we also had a fourplex for staff.
Yeah.
And just like everything else, there's positives and negatives associated with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it'll be another important thing for us to discuss as we consider this. But I think this will be It'll be part of the retain and recruit conversation, and then the board will be able to say, is this the right conversation for us to be having? But, our system is already more complex than we can comfortably manage, and
Yeah.
making it even more complex than that is a challenge. But then on the other side of the coin is we have a challenge of, we need to have affordable housing, because that is impacting our students' learning.
Well, in our day-to-day operations of hiring and
Uh-huh.
retaining in the middle of the year seems to have really absorbed a lot of our administrative time.
Yes, and yeah, that's exactly, I appreciate you to be adding more detail to that. 'Cause That's
Sorry.
exactly where I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you doing that. And then just for the board, this year we're working with 4 initiatives. One initiative is with Fort Lewis College, and that's where every month Dr. Gabriel comes down and she provides a lesson for myself, Mr. Rittner, Miss Epps, as well as Mrs. Farrar, to train us on being effective instructional coaches, and also the value of data as we're evaluating student growth. And that's really led to the development of the data rooms, and also really excellent conversation about how we measure student growth and work towards improving student growth. And part of that work is elementary and secondary establishing quarterly academic achievement goals for students. And that's been really good work. And so far, I've been really pleased with that. The other major initiative is the MTSS initiative, where as a school district, we develop processes so that we can have continuous improvement with our academic performance of students. That's a very high level, very thoughtful initiative. It's a 5-year initiative where it's going to take several years to see an impact, but we are seeing improvements, incremental improvement. The next one is the Mancos Explorers Pathways Program. That one's far more out and very easy to see some positives around it, but it's a very complex thing to be launching 4 CTE pathways and drones. And then we're going to add a little lever and one more layer of complexity to it next year when we start our Grow Our Own Teachers program as a CTE program. So that's well in the way, and yeah, very exciting and very good work. And fortunately, through that program, there's revenue attached to it.
That's
So
what
that
I was gonna say,
that
the grow your own, doesn't that have some state revenue behind it?
there's a variety. So the state's interested, and fortunately, that really, aligns with our work with our strategic plan, our philosophy of project-based learning, and then the Explore Pathways. They're all very consistent and well aligned. And then the 4th initiative is, last year we received the EARS grant, which has been about 200,000, 160,000 and 200,000 in grant revenue per year for 4 years. And we're using that to support the good work of Mancos United, which is currently working on the basic needs of people in our community. We use that for clinical counseling for students and staff. So we're going to spend $26,000 this year on clinical counseling for students and staff. And then also, it also supports that full-time position in the district to support students' behavior when they're struggling staying in the classroom. And that's Mr. Higginbotham's position. So it's been really helpful. And so those are the 4 initiatives. And then really the most exciting thing in my report is the Mancos football team will be going up to Dove Creek this Saturday at 1 p.m. for a very challenging yet thrilling and successful victory. I'm predicting over Dove
There we
Creek.
go.
I think the score will be 32-16 Mancos.
All right.
Oh, wow, we got a spread going.
And that's my report.
Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to say a couple things. The first thing is I was just struck when you were telling me about all of the initiative of the breadth of work that we are doing. We are trying to, for a small school district, to really look at the needs of the most vulnerable students and community members, all the way to increasing rigor and readiness. Like that is commendable. So it's very exciting. And I think, and it also, I hope that the community is excited about it as well, because it really means there's a place here for everyone.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah,
thank
it's,
you.
yeah, Mancos is there, the staff is a very talented staff. That's what makes this be able to happen, because it landed on fertile soil.
I also wanted to say, one of the things I really appreciated in all of the reports from the various different buildings is they really kind of circled back to objective 2B, which we'll be approving. I loved the fact that we are embedding restorative practices and, and it's, looking for kids to repair relationships and learning how to have tough conversations after they've made mistakes and how to move forward. I mean, these are children. And so we need to, while they make some really tough mistakes that we can all criticize and go, what are they thinking? They are children. And so it is our job to give them steps and help them find within themselves those steps, because it is within them. So I'm really grateful, and I commend Kathy for getting on that bus.
Victor?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. Katie said it. Yeah, it looks really good.
Emily? Anything?
No, I think that it's really exciting hearing about, the different various projects that we have going on in the district. I will also piggyback on with a little bit of commentary to go back. I also spoke with Mr. Hunter about the potential of teacher housing, and in coordination with the committee that we're potentially putting together for teacher retention and compensation. And he's really got some pretty thoughtful and very descriptive information in regard to that I'm hoping that he can share in the future, with whether it be with the committee or the board as a whole. And it does make a lot of sense. I'm still really positively hoping that we can put some type of committee together, because I think that, the more minds and the more people who are tossing out, various ideas or potentials, it's just going to serve us well. And it's still a need, to Katie's point, we're spending a lot of time, valuable time in the middle of the year, replacing teachers and kids that are not, keeping some momentum. So all of these are positive steps in that direction. So very good report. Appreciated all of it. Thank you, Todd.
And one thing I'd like to make is the board and I, and this is really just for anyone that might be listening, just a point of clarification. The board and I use a shorthand of teachers when we say for retention and recruitment and compensation, we use that as just a shorthand for all staff. Because we know it's across the board, but for us, it's just a shorthand we use.
Thank you for that.
Cool. Thank you, Todd. All right, now our finance, are you going to do something with finance? Or I know Chrissy's excused tonight because she has family in town and this is their last night.
Yes,
So,
I think we're gonna have to defer that to the next
Okay.
meeting. I don't have anything prepared.
all right, so now we go to discussion items. We have our CASB conference and session planning. Did you look at the schedule for this December 1st through 3rd?
Yes.
Thing and decide, oops, I have it up here. There it goes. Decide what you felt was really important that you would like to go to. Before we go, Todd, we have one session that Todd is going to be leading. Is Katie going to go to?
Yes,
Okay, all right, and that's about our pathways, correct?
no, so Mancos United.
Mancos United,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
and so Katie McClure, the lead administrator from Mancos United, the board member from Mancos United and board member from Mancos School District, Emily Hutchison Brown, will be presenting. And the Mancos School District Board President, Mrs. Coppinger, and I will also be presenting. So the four of us will be presenting the good work we did with the EARS grant and the development of Mancos United.
And that's on Friday, correct?
I believe it is Friday at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
So,
What's the name of that session? Do you remember?
I think it's entitled Saving Lives and Bringing Community into the Conversation.
Save lives and let teachers
There
work.
it is.
Yes,
Working with
Teachers
the
teach.
community.
Yeah, working with the
Exactly.
community. Okay, great. That's very exciting. Thank you for representing us.
Yeah. It's actually Todd's baby. We just got to go come in with it. All right, so let's go. Katie, what are you looking at?
I wanted to first be clear, are we, in the past, we haven't always done Saturday, so are we gonna be there through Saturday? It's the general session keynote speaker and then some breakout sessions.
Yeah, and they usually, so usually around noon that they,
Yeah,
oh no, till 2:15, so that's kind of late, but I know in the past, last week, or last year, remember, we were kind of wiped out. We had had so much information that it was kind of like overload at that point, and we decided to leave earlier on Saturday.
Mhm.
So it's just what you want to do. There's a lot of good breakout sessions on Saturday, so.
so I was thinking on Friday, the Family School Community Partnerships from Paper to Practice. But maybe I'll go to
And that's when?
that's Friday,
Friday.
or excuse me, Thursday.
Thursday,
I
okay.
apologize. Friday, I feel like I should go to Save Lives and Let Teachers Teach. To heckle, but
Heckle.
if not, there was one on the READ Act in here, and let me creating a comprehensive SEL program in rural school districts. I really was
Okay.
interested in, and then after the breakout session in 2 p.m., I was interested in the READ Act.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I did one of the things, and then the last one was the finding and supporting great rural teachers during a teacher shortage was the last one on
Is
Friday.
that on Friday?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, that is a
Did-
good one.
Did
I
we
got that one
want
down
to
too.
have a breakfast? I know we discussed that with Telluride and invite them. Would you like me to facilitate that again? Or a meal or what have you? Just let me know and I'm happy to do that as you guys
We
form
just
the
meet up there
schedule.
at- Yeah, we just meet up there.
We could have it at the hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we were gonna meet with them for, Just-
Well, we talked at the time because we were talking about board governance, but
right?
we don't, but maybe, so just, if we want to do that, let me know.
Okay.
I know last year Todd was kind enough to put together kind of the schedule a little bit more for us. So I don't know if you want to or not, what that looks like. Okay, stay tuned.
Okay, Emily, were you able to look over the schedule?
I was, and I think I was one of the ones that was kind of poking about it, and I just had a momentary panic where I was like, wait, did I already pick out my stuff? But I didn't. So I think that again, it's nice to kind of split ways and all of us cover our bases. There's a session on Thursday, the art of communication, right up my alley. The Friday session, obviously I'll be participating in that morning breakout, so I'll be at that or attending at that. Katie, if you come heckle, can you bring like coffee or snacks? That'd be great.
Sure. Will
Want us
do.
to bring donuts?
Not a very
Uh,
good-
Throw
In the
donuts.
in the afternoon, there's a couple of them that caught my attention. One was, finding and supporting great rural teachers during a teacher shortage, which, I mean, we could all probably utilize that information. I'd like to see what some present and what might be shared, and it could really add to that committee that we're talking about. And then also strategies towards safe and secure 21st century schools in light of the, bringing up again, the potential of an SRO, the situation that we had at hand last week. I just think that that's also very beneficial. And then I didn't really look too hard at Saturday because I did remember, Pam, that last time we were all kind of done. I'm assuming we're going up on Wednesday. And usually by Saturday morning, we've got a long drive home. So I did not look at the breakout, but I do know that we have a pathways presentation. And is that you, Todd? And do you need support there or attendance? Like, there's a pathways presentation on the breakout Saturday afternoon.
Yes,
Oh, I
yeah.
see that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I noticed
Yeah.
that too. Which, if you're total burnout, you could actually just go to the keynote maybe and not do a breakout. Go ahead and get your luggage and stuff put in the car, have lunch, and then go to that and be ready to leave right after.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think-
thinking.
I think we should support Todd
Yeah,
on
I
that
do too.
and
Well-
support this school.
Well, and you all have, especially if you have children involved in it, it makes a difference too.
When
So
is that, on Saturday?
It's
It's
the
a
1
two-
to 2:15.
it's the very last one.
Okay.
Oh, it's
There's
the very
also
last one? Lucky me.
You'll need the support.
Yeah. This'll be it, yeah. I'll tell you all
I'll bring
about it.
coffee to that one.
There's also a teacher housing piece there.
Yeah.
that Maybe Tim would attend on our behalf.
Now, that would be great. I see that from Eagle County. That was good
Yeah.
too.
I'm excited to go.
Me too.
Well, let's think about maybe if everybody could email me if they would like to do a network dinner or breakfast or something like that, if they find value in it. I'm happy to reach out to another school board. Maybe it would be Ignacio, maybe, or something like that. So do think about that and then get back to me within a week or so, because this is coming
It's
up
coming right
fast.
up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Victor?
All right, on Friday, I thought maybe going to voters for funding education ballot measures might be something that we should at least begin to really start to look at as a possibility. So I was thinking of going to that. And then on that Friday, we have the CASB candidate and delegate business meeting. That's at 2:45, so I'm required to go to that.
Right.
Then Friday, I was looking at picturing co-governance system framing success. It seemed like there was some interesting things in the title there, or in the summary that they had. And then building taxpayers' trust and passing your next bond measure. Again, somebody or one of us needs to go. I feel like I wanted to go to that just to get a basis and know a lot about how to pass a bond. And then Saturday looks like we'll be at the last meeting, but I think that funding and supporting great role teachers during teacher shortage is one
That one
that
I think hit us.
one of
all.
us should go. I had it marked down, but if that's in conflict with Todd's.
Yeah,
We can split up for that
Yeah.
one, because I think that is really
Because I
important,
think we
because
should get some
it's
info.
a top agenda item for us. Yeah.
it's one that we've talked about in here a lot, so,
So I had that down.
okay. Mine, it was kind of interesting going through here because I thought about on Thursday, going to the voters for funding, just because some ideas that have popped up that people have mentioned, I thought, well, right now that's a hard thing to do. And I'm just curious as how others might go about that.
Is that the one that's the education ballot measure?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, because I so want to get governor started, I just wanted to go out the breakout on Friday morning is picturing co-governance systems, framing success, to see what they had. Let's see, where am I? I guess on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
That's it, okay. And that was, I had one that somebody else had already mentioned, but I had, there's a couple here that I liked it. Again, I'm gonna change my mind. As Colorado Public Education and Local Control, because as you go to a delegate assembly, that's a huge part of it. And that's actually been attacked from all sides.
It's true.
And then, I guess that 415, I just was curious. I thought I'd go to Durango and Canyon City Portrait of a Graduate and see how it,
Oh, yeah.
how it
How we
kind of,
measure up.
yeah, how, whether we're doing the same, what we're doing differently, just
Yeah,
thought it would be interesting.
they're doing a really good job. They bring in $450,000 from the certificate development incentive
Wow.
program. So,
Wow. Okay, and then, of course, supporting Todd, yeah, for 2 of those, so anyway. Well, looks like we're all thinking a little different. So I think we're pretty good. Transportation up. What are we thinking? Emily, do you need to take your car again?
I need to think about that. It's always one of those things as a single only parent that I worry about being able to get back to my child. So let me have some time. And if I have on the ground backup, then I might be able to carpool.
Okay. School vehicle, is that a possibility?
yeah, we could,
Okay.
but I would want to go ahead and arrange that right away. So I'll reach out to Bart tomorrow
Okay,
for like the Suburban
okay,
or
yeah. All right. Okay, I think we got that pretty much. All right, board policy review and development. Emily, this is what I put this on the agenda for you. I know you wanted to talk to Tim about it, but you have to wait.
No, I talked to him about it. I did speak to him. The good news is that Tim has agreed to help me or help us. Whew, that's a tough one. I was sweating bullets because I know that this is a hot point for Mr. Hunter. God bless him. So really, this just arose from the fact that Chrissy and I were discussing some of the funding and sources and how certain things were working through funding, and we referred back to policy, and it came to my attention that although we've elected policy that is all well and right and good and in accordance to the law, we have not done the work to go back to the policy work that for many, many, many years was put into place through the governance of the board as it relates specifically to our PK-12 single campus and just those little nuances and those items that were changed over the course of many, many years. And there are some things in policy that have kind of slipped through the cracks that potentially put our district at a greater exposure from a liability standpoint. So we need to go do the work to pull the policies that were in place and that at one point in time had been, rectified or adjusted, maybe just language put into place that would represent our district better. So it's an exercise really of historical mind, which is why Mr. Hunter came to mind, because he was part of a lot of that. So were you, Pam. Chrissy also offered to help. And it's really, truth be told, it's a lot of heavy lifting administratively. We need probably at least 2 board members to be able to sit down on, and I think we could do this in chunks over a course of time because the policies are extensive, right? So it's really a matter of looking at the old, comparing to the new, figuring out what is there that, we put there on purpose historically, and does it really still apply? Do we need to adjust our policies? So it would probably be the presentation of, I don't know the number, but a handful of policies per board meeting for a period of a few months until we can get them all squared away and we know that they're well and good. So I raised my hand to do the heavy lifting in terms of the drafting and kind of, sitting down with a group of people to do this. But I do believe if we don't get it done, that we do have some liability exposure. And, we thought, and I think we did a great thing because we came up to speed, but we got to go back and do a little bit more work. And that's what we don't want to forget. So Tim's already volunteered. If I could have one more person, then I think we could really get through this pretty quickly. Anybody? Super fun. Awesome.
The only concern
Probably
is
the best people.
all three be there at the same time.
Oh, that's right. We can't have all three of us at the same time because that's a quorum.
Okay, so it just has to be Tim and I. Okay, well, there you go. Done, done, and done. So, but then we will be having to present them to the board. And again, I need to wrap my head around like the quantity, the number of policies, and how much we're really talking about. So if you can give me, I know, give me a month or two, and then I'll come back with a plan and maybe even some of the work done.
You guys have any questions for her or comments?
Sounds good. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. All right, so we're on to objective 2B. Students will demonstrate emotional intelligence in their day-to-day interactions with adults and peers. And this is board action to accept the objective report. I did, since I missed last month's meeting, I did go through this, and it was amazing to me how it advances with age. I mean, they get better and better with age. I mean, that makes common sense, but to see it in numbers was really kind of surprising to me, just because it was so clear in black and white. I really appreciated that. I did have one question. I lost my question. Oh, there was one here that for students in need of one-on-one support, there's currently a therapist working with students on Monday and half-day Wednesday. Is that through Mancos United or?
No, it's, no.
No?
That's actually through the EARS grant.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
So that would be a person, that would be students that were mentioned in that number I mentioned earlier, 22 that are receiving clinical counseling.
Okay, all right. From the clinic, they coming to our school, or are they
Yes.
having to go there? They're coming here.
Yes, we have 2 or 3 licensed counselors coming here to meet students for counseling.
Anyone else have any comments about this? I know, let's see, Katie, you and I were gone, but Emily and Victor were there.
Yeah, I know that we asked a lot of questions on the work session, so.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, but
The only thing I would say, Todd, is during the surveys, I noticed that most of the time it's like 33 responses.
yeah, I did too.
And I know there's like 60 staff members, so if we include all the folks that work with kids. Is there any reason why there's only 33? Like, is there a way to get more responses so that we get a better, feel about really what people are thinking in terms of these questions?
Yeah, I'll think about that and also share that with Audion to see what we could do to try to improve those numbers.
Seems like people are just, they're afraid they're gonna be identified or something. If some way we could let them know that that's not the case. We're not looking at individuals, we're looking at, we want to know percentages of these. Yeah, that was glaring as well. Katie, do you have anything?
No, I posed my questions, thanks to Emily, raised some of my questions, even though I was absent at the meeting. So no, I agree with you. The reports are great, and I believe approaching standards is where we're at. And my only comment is it felt a little open-ended about what happened with Mancos Matters. So, you know, I just I caution the school to start things that just are kind of like don't really take off. I know that that's something, and I caution us to ask them to start things that don't actually take off. So it's like food for thought, you know, about,
That was fine, because they aren't getting paid, they're not working.
or yeah, I think the funding was through
It's just not
BOCES,
there.
if I recall, it was through,
Yeah, I don't know. where
Yeah,
it came from.
yeah. So, and yeah, so anyway, I just, and then I would also just impress that we still need, there were action items within the body of the report at the end, which I always appreciate that.
Me too.
We need to get the training on the books. And so if there's, I would ask the administration if there are any opportunities to maybe co-opt us to get involved there and just invite us.
It's in development, it's in play.
Oh,
Oh,
thanks.
good.
I appreciate that. I really
Yeah,
do.
and there'll be some greater breadth of understanding in the 2A reports. Because
Excellent.
that is kind of a sister report. if you will.
Yes, yes.
So I think you'll be, if you don't feel satisfied after reading 2A, then that means we have a hole or a void.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, understood. Thank you.
Emily, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
All right, we have a motion.
Oh, sorry.
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept. Motion to accept.
We used to tennis.
Yeah, I know.
Arrest date. Hold on, I'm getting that.
Motion to accept objective 2B. Students will demonstrate emotional intelligence in their day-to-day interactions with adults and peers.
At approaching standard. Is that
Oh,
right?
at approaching standard.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to accept the objective 2B, that students will demonstrate emotional intelligence in their day-to-day interactions with adults and peers. Any more discussion? Okay, Heather, call the question, please.
Katie Cahill Volpe,
Aye.
Pam Coppinger,
Aye.
Victor Figueroa,
Aye.
Emily Hutchison Brown.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. All right, I guess we go down to action items.
I make a motion to approve action items A, B, C, and D.
I second that.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve action items A, B, C, and D, correct?
Yes.
All right, and the second, so discussion?
I just had one question, and Emily is probably thorough enough on the bills that she saw this too. It looks like we just had the resignation of someone who we are now, but who in the bill cycle, we are paying to go to professional development. So I just wanted to make a note of that,
Oh,
it was a nominal amount, but we slide someone into that, or we get our money back.
I'll look into it.
I'll write down, I think I had the line somewhere and I just couldn't find it, but yeah.
all right, any more discussion? All right, Heather, call the question, please.
Katie Cahill Volpe,
Aye.
Pam Coppinger,
Aye.
Victor Figueroa,
Aye.
Emily Hutchison Brown.
Aye.
All right, action items pass 4-0. All right, we don't, any more from the public? Tigo says no. All right, as far as any more, I know we didn't add that to this agenda, but we usually have future items or whatever we want to talk about. Is there anything from tonight's discussion that you would like to further discuss, or it brought something else to
I
surface?
think that just the protocols, just a reminder that we want to try to get it, Todd, when you are ready to provide it.
Yeah, at the latest, I'll have it for the December board meeting, but I'll likely have it I'll likely have it before Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
But if not, definitely by the next board meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, so let's think about this. December would be probably you could do a wrap up on the CASB
Delegation.
or the whole meeting,
The
or
convention.
the annual
Business meeting,
82nd meeting, so that would be for sure on there. And then I think we wanted to have a pretty succinct list of entities that I can bring to the table of linkage. So I would bring at least 5 for the remaining year. So January through May, I would say 5 set meetings with entities and possible dates and possible topics.
Mhm.
So we can, my thought is that we could do a lot of the work via email and just kind of throwing that in, and then we could move forward with it in a future board item.
okay.
And then also we need a timeline for the onboarding.
Right, we need a timeline and a decision about whether we can all do it together or there's 2 people that can get it going and then bring it back to the rest of the board for their
Yeah.
input.
Oh, and that was for your entities as far as going out.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about work session and the amount of stuff we're trying to
Right.
do with
So for the
with
timeline.
Emily's policy work that we're gonna have to decide on. Would it be beneficial to have just 2 people work on this and then bring an example back? And if you have
I do,
you have some of these,
yeah,
because we need more than just one.
yeah,
I know that, like Emily said, when we're up at this conference, it'd be a good opportunity to try to reach out to some different folks that we might know that work in different districts that might have this already also, and then we could look at a variety of different formats.
how about I do this? How about I send what Matt sent me?
Yeah.
And then those are really nice examples. Some of them are very simple with like kind of schematics again of like, this is the pyramid and this is your line and this is the superintendent's line, and it's very clear. And I think that would be a great thing to include, and because it makes things, you're like, oh, it's this topic, this is not my topic, that kind of thing. So what I can do is maybe as a group, we can pull any information we can and pull it together, and then start again, bringing kind of the cream to the top. So maybe we can do that.
I was gonna say, we have 2 different things here, because we have the entities for the linkage over here. We also have the timeline for the onboarding, which is for like new candidates interested. So we have 2 things here that we're trying to smush together, which we're gonna do through linkage, but however, they're 2 separate.
I think April is to me, April, May is the time that we need to have our onboarding packet and
Okay.
board norms done. To me, April or May. So
Right.
that gives us some time, but I do think we need to use the opportunities we have in front of us, including the linkage and and the CASB, to just kind of start stewing on this and
So,
pulling all of
I
this.
think the clarification is the packet, the handbook is one thing, which
Right.
includes, the onboarding, which is the onboarding process. It's not the only onboarding, but it's part of the onboarding process. So it's really about trying to get that packet together. That's what I'm really referring
And so
to.
that needs to be done before this April
around
May
April.
situation when, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do to help recruit folks. So if we do get folks that are interested, we can give them something already.
That seems like that would be a discussion item as we go to the different entities, you know, that was for that conversation. So those would be discussion items.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just slate it for April, or like that we have
That's what I was thinking.
a long,
But we need to have this.
We have April to actually have the packet put together.
Yeah, so we need to have
to
the
start in
discussion items
January, really.
January to see where we're at and what need we more, and then February an update. See what I'm saying? So that we
I
can
do,
make it-
yeah, I don't, maybe I'm a little too optimistic that we can put that together. And you guys are shaking your head, you're like,
I'm
no.
not sure.
Yeah.
It's really
Fair enough.
personal, but let's shoot for it. Let's try and
Yeah.
if not, we'll push it up.
5 minutes.
We'll push it up to May and June. But we can definitely get it done by
Yeah, if we
the end
keep
of
it on,
school.
yeah, if we keep it on a discussion item, it's gonna keep it front and center and.
Yeah,
so that
present.
We'll be
Okay.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, the only thing I think of is Thanksgiving feast is this Thursday. Can either of you, out of town for the
Yeah,
rest
I'm
of
planning
the
on the comment.
Okay, Victor, are you planning?
I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's
love
all right.
it, but I am sorry.
Okay.
Show me pictures of your turkey hats.
Okay, so I will tell Janet, they'll be you and I.
Okay.
So, all right,
Sounds good.
and she said be there by about 10:40 if you can.
Yeah, well,
Okay. All right, anything else? All right, if not, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.